What's up, peeps? Or should I say, degenerates? Don't look at my pimple! My 2024 has been off to a crazy start. First of all, if you can remember, like, a couple months ago, I was traveling like a crazy woman. It left me absolutely exhausted, and I was just so happy to come back to my little corner in Europe and chill. But then, as I was chilling, 2024 slapped me in the face. First of all, one of my Godot insider friends, he who shall not be named, invited me with one free ticket to G to the D to the C. Yeah, so I was actually not really planning on going. It's kind of expensive, the plane ticket, and then the San Francisco, and then the Silicon Valley, and then everything. It's a little bit expensive, but I got a free ticket to the conference. So I can handle the flight and the accommodation, right? Started off January with Pirate Software. I'm sure you've heard of him. Like, I literally cannot open my YouTube without seeing his goddamn shorts. They're so good, goddammit.
And they're like, no, let's wait, eat the pizza. And then afterwards, they're shitting themselves to death.
And I haven't participated in a game jam in so long. How long, you may ask? I don't like talking about this, but there was a time when I didn't use Godot. And I used Unity. Cut the beat, Brian. John Riccatello, not a nice fellow. Face look like jello. Won't even say hello, what? And then Pirate Software was like, oh, by the way. Yeah, he has a very deep voice. I can't. By the way, guys, there's a secret reward. I wasn't really in it for the secret reward. You know, I just wanted to make a game. I wasn't gonna win. It was just me, and there was teams of 5 people. I can't compete with that. So, secret reward, you're gonna have to wait till the end to find out. But the judges were announced. I'm not really a fangirl. You know, there could be a famous person that walks up to me and I'll be like, yo, what up, dog? But one of these judges, I've been a fan of for quite a while. I'm not playing down the rest of the judges because it's literally banger after banger after banger. But this one judge in particular unlocked the screaming fan in me. And that is Ludwig. So, throughout this game jam, whenever I was like, god damn it, I don't give a shit about this feature, I always thought, but what if Ludwig played it? So, I waited for the theme to be announced. I had my ideas of games I would like to make, but when you're in a game jam, you gotta be kind of flexible because the theme really drives the project. So the theme was announced, and it's spreading. Okay, the first thing that popped into my head was STD. But Thankfully, I pushed that aside. And then I had the wonderful, wholesome idea of nature spreading. And it brought to mind the game that I played. You guys might know it from this popular creator, Thin Matrix, Equilinox. 5 things in this game jam that were important to me. 1, get out of my comfort zone. 2, learn something new. 3, have fun. 4, to at least have a working game, because actually in the last game jam I talked about where I did in Unity, it really kinda didn't really work. And 5, of course, you do not overscope a game jam. This was actually a fairly long one. It was 2 weeks. Normally they're like 1 day, 3 days, 1 week. So 2 weeks was actually a pretty good amount of time. So I knew that in order to get out of my comfort zone, it had to be 3D, because that has been a goal for me for a while, to brush up my 3D skills. And there were going to be some initial challenges. First of all, procedural generation. I wanted in the game. I've never done that in 3D. 2, mouse clicking. It might sound kind of easy, and in 2D it is very easy, and we'll go over the difficulties with mouse clicking in 3D. And 3rd, painting on the mesh, because that's gonna be a huge part of the game. The spreading, the mesh is supposed to go from brown to like no nature, and then to green and luscious. So I started off trying to get the procedural generation done in 3D, and I found a really good tutorial, so it was actually not that bad. And we got the procedural generation up and running fairly quickly. And after getting the terrain up and running, then I had to do the mouse click so that I can instantiate things on the mesh. So that was the first thing. And basically how the mouse clicking works is you emit a raycast from your camera, and it takes the mouse position on the screen, which is just X and Y. It projects that raycast through that on-screen position and to the first place that raycast hits on a mesh. And that's it. So once I got the mouse click up and running, instantiating items onto the mesh actually wasn't that hard because it's the same 2D, 3D. The painting on the mesh was very difficult for days. I was shouting onto Twitter and Discord in my stream, please, anybody, if you have any resources, help me. And thankfully, user Human hooked it up with a very nice article. And the funny thing is that actually in the article, the dude converted it from Godot 2 to Godot 3, and I had to convert it to Godot 3 to Godot 4. So that was fun. But yeah, after probably 3 days it took for me to actually get it to work, I had to end up using a talk at GodotCon by Rafael Pica. He was talking about viewports. The way I got it to work was to understand the problem more. So I watched that talk in and out. So after watching that, I was actually able to fix the biggest bug and make it work. So yeah, I'll just give another brief demonstration of how the texture painting works. Don't worry if this goes over your head. It is fairly complex. So this is the visual shader on the mesh, and it is mixing these two colors by weight, and the weight is coming from the splat texture. The way the splat texture is processed is by taking that mouse click position on the mesh and converting it to a UV position, and just moving this brush texture on the viewport, and that viewport is producing a texture from those brush positions, which is the splat texture. Watch as the splat texture is being produced as a plant on the world. So this splat texture is just being used as the weight to mix the brown and green colors on the visual shader. I hope at least one person can understand what I'm trying to say. So technologically speaking, after the texture mesh painting was done, it was pretty much smooth sailing. There was an issue where I felt like my game was too similar to Aquilinox, so I had to add something that made it feel different, and I was bashing my head against the wall. So that's where the Boogdodis come in. And if anyone tells you that their names are Boogdaddies, don't listen to them. If anyone tells you that I stole it from Adventure Time, just block them, okay? That's how I solve all my problems. You ban and block people. So yeah, listen, I'm all for getting inspired by video games, and you should too. You shouldn't knock yourself too much for getting inspired. I mean, Stardew Valley was heavily inspired by Harvest Moon. Undertale, heavily inspired by Earthbound. The list goes on and on. You yank it and you twist it. Unless you're Pal Worlds, then you just yank it and you add a bunch of elements and it's okay. So I present to thee the Boogdodi. So when I showed this to Twitter, they actually went wild. So I think I was onto something at that point. So in video games, in order to compel the user to do things, you need to present them with a why. Why are they planting it? Why are you making nature spread? Why? So in comes the Boogdodi. The Boogdodi lost his house. You need to build nature. You just make a nice and beautiful world for the Boogdodis because nobody wants to see the Boogdodis suffer. I felt calm after this. Like, thankfully, this is not Aquilinox 2.0. This is a different game. Okay, I can move on. So 1 week left. I still wasn't quite sure how the Boogdodis would play out. Initially, I thought maybe the Boogdodis would move in, and then when you had land, another Boogdodi would happen, and then they would make Boog babies, and then you would make a Boogdodi village and stuff. That was kind of what was going on in my head, but I'm kind of the person that you go with the flow. And there was actually one important thing in this game jam that is not very often in game jams that they have this, and that was the fact that you had to have a game design document. And of course there was like 5 days left and I hadn't even touched that. And I have never even done a game design document. So yeah, please forgive me, Almighty Thor. I did the game design document at the end. That I know it kind of defeats the purpose. Quick message from our sponsors. This video is sponsored by Zenva. If you're excited about game development with Godot 4, you've got to check out Zenva Academy. They offer easy-to-follow courses that are ideal for both beginners and intermediate-level developers who are looking for structured learning pathways. Zenva makes learning practical and fun. You get professional video tutorials, written lessons, and interactive quizzes. Plus, you'll get to work on real projects building games in different genres like open world, RPGs, and FPS. Zenva isn't just about Godot. They have courses on Blender, Unity, Unreal, and other tools. With one subscription including a 7-day free trial, you unlock over 250 courses and 32 learning pathways. And here's a special deal. You can get an extra 20% off your first year of your annual Zenva subscription, on top of any existing site discounts. This special offer is only valid for the first 50 subscribers. So if you want a great place to start learning in your game development journey, you should definitely check out Zenva. There's 1 week left. No GDD. No GOD. But actually, I felt like I had achieved a breakthrough in Blender. You know, I've actually been using Blender like a hobbyist, because I don't really make many 3D games. Oh, there was that dungeon crawler game I made. Oh, yeah, I barely made any games in 3D, and Blender has always been like a friction point for me. So on and off since 2022. And actually in this game, it finally stuck. I don't know what it was. So yeah, that was actually pretty epic. But yeah, towards the end, as I was filling up the game with content, I realized that I couldn't do it on my own. And thankfully, I found a lot of free low poly asset packs on itch. Yeah, towards the end, once I got all the functionality in, and I had all of the models, it was about getting the tutorial flow, getting the characters used to the Boogdodis. I introduced a nature bar, getting the UI looking good because it was looking really horrible, and just making it look like a real game. Yes, I know the main menu was hideous, but anyways. And yeah, on came the last day, and it was one of my streaming days, so I knew I wasn't gonna get much done because my chat is it's very demanding. So on stream, I finished up the GDD. It's really nice to have also, when people are really interested in your game, you could just, you know, send them the GDD and explain your game up. And it was also really nice that I was able to send my game to stream, and they were also able to play it, test it out. So thank you guys that helped me play test it and everything and support it. Fully indebted to you. By the way, if you guys want to watch my streams, I stream on YouTube and Twitch. I do that, and I make games on there, and I use Godot, and we laugh and we have fun. So you can check me out. Check me out there. Once you send your game out and people play it, you see the game take on a life of its own, and I think that's really cool. And you see how people interact with your game differently, and it's just such a rewarding feeling. If you make games, put them out there, let people play them. By the way, link in the description if you want to try out my game for free on itch.io. And if you want the source code, I put it all on Patreon. So you want the source code? There it is. Please don't steal it. Finally, I ended stream and I fixed up the game and I submitted it. And I felt like £1 billion was off my chest. It felt amazing. And finally, after the deadline ended, the secret prize was announced. So the first place winner of the game jam was to receive $15,000 to start up their game studio. And the second and third place winners would get 7,500 buckaroos. Such an inspiring goal. And I'm so glad they announced it at the end, because I feel like that would have caused so much unnecessary stress for the people participating in the game jam. So good job, Thor, announcing it at the end. And congratulations, whoever wins. At the moment of recording this, they have still not announced the winners. So yeah, helping out indie devs is so important. So good for the ecosystem of the game developers. So thank you, Pirate Software, Co-Carnage, and Admiral Baru for contributing to this prize pool. You guys are really, really awesome. Thanks. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. It was so nice. And also, you might think that like, oh, after doing such a project, you'll be burned out and you won't pick up on Logcraft right away. Actually, throughout this game jam, I was missing Logcraft. So I think that is a very good sign that we are onto something with Logcraft. I will make a devlog for Logcraft very soon. So stick around. Thank you guys so much who have supported and stuck with me through this journey. I'm still going very hot. So take care, guys. Everybody remember, make games, laugh, and don't take life too seriously. Alrighty, guys. Have an amazing day. Bye.